You are not failing at life. You are just carrying too much. That is the topic of today's mini episode of the Unconventional Business Podcast. This is basically just a big fat permission slip from me to you if you are feeling like everything is just too much and adulting is too hard and you just can't keep on top of it all. I'm here to tell you that that doesn't mean that's a personal failure on your part or a character flaw or that you are any less than anyone else. It just means you're probably carrying too much. I see this in my work coaching ADHD and ADHD business owners all the time. We put so much pressure on ourselves, and I saw it live in the room when I hosted my burnout mapping workshop called All the Hats, Just One Head. For those of us who are wearing a lot of hats, and sometimes there are just too many hats and too much pressure and too many demands, and it all does get too much. And that, like I said, it doesn't mean you're failing, it just means it's literally too much for one human. So if your current strategy for dealing with all the hats that you're wearing and all the pressure is to just push through this week, then this episode is for you. I want to invite you to just take a couple of minutes whilst you're watching or listening to this and just acknowledge how much you're carrying. Everything that I do is underpinned by the framework that I talk about a lot, where there are 4 U's. So there's CEO U, who is the big picture thinker and the strategist and the one going out there getting all the business opportunities and winning the work and getting excited about stuff. And then there's employee U that has to turn up and actually deliver that shit. Who's like, oh crap, how am I going to deliver all this stuff? And it needs to manage deadlines and clients and tasks and invoicing. Then there's carer or parent you, which is the new one, but there might be carer and parent. You might be part of the sandwich generation, caring for elderly relatives and also for children. It might be a partner or friends or family members. There will be a part of you that is nurturing someone or something. It might be yourself. If you have a chronic health condition, maybe you've got loads of medical, admin and appointments to keep up with, but that's a separate amount of cognitive, emotional, practical, mental load. And then there's you. The human being who needs to wee and eat and sleep and maybe have a social life. And the thing about the 4 U's is if they don't work in harmony, if they're all clashing with each other, if human you is always left at the bottom of the list, that's what often leads to burnout. It's different from that burnout in corporate, which is often about a clash of values and the demands on you are coming from that corporate environment externally. But the thing about being a neurodivergent business owner who's maybe working around caring responsibilities is that burnout is driven by your passion. The fact that you want to do all of things, you care about what you do, you care about the people that you are looking after, you are pulled in so many different directions, but not necessarily because you have to, but because you want to. You are all these things to all these different people and you want to be, but also you need to be something to yourself. So what we did in the workshop is we looked at those 4 different parts of you and we mapped out what is that side of you under pressure from in terms of external demands, what is it handling? And then we looked at what resources it has. So for example, CEO you might have these big ideas. It might be under pressure for your business to deliver and pay you a wage. But in terms of resources, maybe you don't have support. Maybe you can't afford a business coach or a copywriter or a website developer or whatever it is you need to get out there and get those clients and make the money. And so if there's a huge gap there, how can you fill it? With skill swaps, for example, which are a great way to build your business without having to spend money. If it's carer you, maybe you are dealing with a lot of school-related admin, that is my life at the moment, and supporting your child or children emotionally. Maybe you have a child with special educational needs, and then there's a whole host of admin and other stuff associated with that. But maybe that side of you, that carer you, is really under-resourced because it's got no one to offload to. It feels it's doing all this stuff alone. And maybe you need to think about a friend that you can meet up with and rant to. Maybe you can pay for extra support or help. It's all about looking at what demands that part of you is experiencing, but what resources it has to actually deal with those demands. And if you do this exercise for yourself, please pay particular attention to actual human you, because we often find ourselves at the bottom of our own list. One thing that I find really helpful every single week is to visualize this, is to actually write 4 separate lists. CEO me needs to think about what is that next thing I'm going to be talking about in my marketing. Employee me needs to deliver some actual work for clients that are paying me money. It needs to coach people. Human me needs to exercise. Which days am I going to do that? When am I going to meal prep? And then carer me is thinking about planning the school summer holidays at the moment. And then I need to think about, for each of those, what resources am I pulling on? How am I filling my cup for each of those parts of me? What help can I ask for? Is there anything I can delay, do right now, delegate, or just drop entirely? I lean heavily on systems, automation, templating. I'm a massive fan of automating stuff and systemizing it. If it's something you're repeating all the time, that's something that technology can help you achieve. So yeah, just take a couple minutes to actually think about, what pressure am I under right now? And is it fair for me to be carrying all of this, or am I just expecting too much of myself? And don't forget, if you have an ADHD or ADHD brain, that's just going to add another layer. There's potentially executive functioning challenges. There's that sort of spongy relationship with time that makes time estimation hard. There's task initiation that can feel like climbing a mountain. And it's really important to view that not as a stick to beat yourself with, but an opportunity for self-compassion. Okay, if I need to do these things, if these tasks are immovable in my week, how can I help myself? What can I do to set myself up for success? How can I support myself? That's what all my coaching practice is based on, setting yourself up for success rather than failure. If I have piqued your curiosity with this and you think, actually, there is probably something there I need to look at and acknowledge for myself and map out, lift the lid, look at the thing, and then make a small achievable plan to move forward, you can access the on-demand version of my workshop, All the Hats, Just One Head. I'll drop the link in the show notes. It will take you less than an hour. And by the end of it, yes, you might have something a bit confronting in front of you, but it will be out there on paper rather than just buzzing around your head. And you will be able to see a couple of small things that you can do that might seem very tiny and insignificant, but could have a massive ripple effect and just help you lighten the load and be kinder and fairer to yourself. And if watching this episode, you have thought, this is not just me, this is someone I know, please send this episode to them. And please follow the podcast if you are enjoying it. Email me if anything lands for you and you think, oh my God, you've blown my mind. Leave a review or a rating. It really helps us to grow as a community and as a show and reach the people who need to hear messages like this and get these big fat permission slips and help them understand you're not failing, you're just carrying too much. And until next time, let's keep doing life and business differently.